it's Shawnee. Welcome back. So I'm doing my makeup at home because I'm working from home today. And yeah, I actually started and I was like, oh, you know what? Let me take this off and do a video. So here we are. And I washed my face. I put on my moisturizer. Probably gonna put a bit more on since I took the eye makeup off. And I also put on my Black Girl sunscreen gel. So I'm just gonna reapply those things. Just like, yeah. So I also was reading the news, and there are some updates in a news story that I have been following and like waiting for the updates, right? Okay, so I'm using the Honey Halo moisturizer from Pharmacy. Okay, so remember, like a couple summers ago, like 2 summers ago, we talked about Erin Patterson. That is this lady in Australia. I want to give updates if you don't remember the story or you didn't know about it. So Miss Erin came under scrutiny because she had invited some folks to lunch, like 4 older folks, and 3 out of the 4 ended up dead. Okay, so let me tell you what we knew initially, and then I'll go to what we know now, okay? So Erin was estranged from her husband, right? They were kind of separated, but they would go like back and forth or whatever. And Erin and her husband, let's call him Darren, Erin and Darren, they have 2 kids, 9 and 14, I believe. So Erin is like, she wants to invite everyone over to kind of talk about making sure that the kids still stay engaged with their grandparents, blah, blah, blah. So we find out that Erin invited her mother and father-in-law, so Darren's parents, and the mother-in-law's sister and her husband. Okay, now all these folks are in their 70s, 80s. You know, they're getting up there. They go to church. Ian, one of the people, the lone surviving person, he's a pastor. Pastor Ian. That's how we're going to refer to him. So we've got Erin, the lady, Darren, her husband, and Pastor Ian, the lone survivor. So the story comes out that these 4 older folks go to this lady's house and they have a lunch. Like I said, they die. 12 hours later, they don't exist anymore, except for Pastor Ian, who was currently in a coma. He was in there for 7 weeks, okay? And then he popped out and he came out the hospital looking pretty good with his like suit on. Pastor Ian was like, I'm giving you what I can give right now. So they are like, how did all of these people get sick? And how did Erin not get sick? And so they're like, well, what did they eat? And they revealed that they had gone to Erin's for lunch and they had beef Wellington. So we had to consult, right? I consulted with y'all. I consulted with Tracy. I'm like, what is beef Wellington? So it's a puff pastry. Tell me if I'm wrong. It's like this little puff pastry and it has like meat and mushrooms or whatever in there. So they're like, okay, the meat seems fine. So maybe it's the mushrooms. Is something wrong with like what's in this food and what's wrong with it? So they're like, Erin, where'd you get these mushrooms, right? I'm going in with the Specular Sparkle and Shimmer Glue Base from Davina because I'm going to use a shimmer. And I want it to stick. So, what was I saying? Yeah, they're like, girl, where'd you get this? And so what we find out is Erin is a relatively good cook, right? And she's like, oh, well, I got these mushrooms from this Asian market, which just felt very like bigoted and racist to me, but whatever. And she couldn't tell us where the market was, the name of the market, just some Asian market that she had gone to. Now, what they find out is that these are death cap mushrooms. They'll take you out. They'll take you out, okay? You're not going to be able to survive. And they're like, well, Erin, you're a forager. You'd be going out there and foraging for stuff. I guess mushrooms. I don't know what else you forage for. So you should have known that these are real dangerous. And they don't be selling these in the store. And Aaron's like, oh, I had no idea. But from what I understand, you just can't be over there chopping and doing all kinds of stuff with these mushrooms. Like, they will take you down and out. They also found out that Erin had a food dehydrator that she had gotten rid of. She went and threw it somewhere. And they're like, Erin, but you had this food dehydrator. And what we're finding out from this group that you was in on Facebook is that you're a forager girl. And you know all the kind of stuff about all these mushrooms. So tell us what's actually happening. And Miss Erin goes on the news and she's like, I don't know, like, people are blaming me for this. Like, I didn't want them to die. I didn't mean for them to die. And I was sick too. She's like, and my kids ate the food, but I like scraped the mushrooms off, so like they were fine. But I had like diarrhea and stuff. I was sick. I wasn't as sick as the old people that I didn't mean to kill, but still, you know. And I didn't know these mushrooms were bad, and I don't know why people are saying that I did this on purpose. Okay, Erin gets arrested. And what we had found out was that her husband, her estranged husband, Darren, he had also been invited to the lunch. But I don't know, the like spirits, the gods, whatever, were like, baby, stay your behind home. So he had told Erin, I'm not coming. I don't feel comfortable coming. So only the parents-in-law and the pastor and his wife, whatever, they're the only ones that came. So everybody's trying to figure out, girl, what had happened? All we know is that Miss Erin gets arrested. She is arrested for, you know, murder and attempted murder. Because this is what they allege, you know, allegedly what she did. Okay. So things kind of go a little quiet for a while. Right? And recently we find out that Erin is all up and through her trial. Okay? She's on trial now. So this is where we are today. That's the information we have, and now we have more information. So remember I told you that Erin was like, I want to figure out, you know, how to make sure to keep the communication and visits and stuff open for the kids and the grandparents and everything. So first we have Pastor Ian on the stand, right? Pastor Ian is looking real dapper. Like, for the fact that he's like 82 and he was up in the hospital for 7 weeks in a coma and all kinds of stuff. I don't know how that man survived, but I think the reason he survived is we trying to get Erin allegedly to be in prison, allegedly. Okay, I have the Delicious Delights palette from Cosmic Beauty. I think I'm going to use this. Yeah. Okay, so let's see what shade I want to use. I think I will start with the shade Delicious. You know, Delicious Delights, delicious. Okay, so we hear from Pastor Ian that Erin had gone to church and had invited the parents-in-law and Pastor Ian and his wife. Pastor Ian and his wife are like, we're not that cool, but great. You know, we'll come along. Let's have this relationship. We're kind of sort of, you know, related down the line because, yeah. And he's like, yeah, so Erin, had invited them over saying that she wanted to talk to them about all of this stuff with the kids who are 9 and 14 and who had been sent away to the movies, allegedly. She wants to talk about telling the kids that she's very sick, that she has been diagnosed with cancer. So the older folks are like, well, just tell them, talk to them about it, just be very honest. Come to find out, that girl ain't sick. She might be sick in the head, allegedly, but she ain't sick in the body. So she concocted this story to get them there to talk to them. Like, Erin, this is not sounding good. This is not sounding good for you, babes. She concocted this story, and Pastor Ian talked about the lunch. He was like, we were really excited. The food looked great. We were really, you know, hungry. And so she had made individual beef Wellingtons. Now, what we find out from Pastor Ian is that Erin had put the beef Wellington plus like some potatoes and I don't know what else, probably some veggies, on the plate. And she put them on this like large gray dinner plate for each of the 4 old people. And what Pastor Ian and his wife noticed was that Erin had a different plate. She had less food on this like little orange plate. Pastor Ian and his wife were like, that's different. And Pastor Ian had asked, or maybe it's his wife had asked, like, does she not have a lot of like cookery? Does she not have a lot of dishes to put food on? And the husband is like, yeah, you know, she doesn't have a lot. So like I said, 11, 12 hours later, these people are sick. So her father-in-law ate his whole portion and then half of his wife's portion. You know, when people be leaving stuff behind, if you're a partner, you're like, I'll just finish that. So father-in-law must have been hungry. So he ate a portion and a half, right? 11, 12 hours later, people are puking, diarrhea, all kinds of stuff, to the point where they have to go to the hospital. All 4. They get to the hospital and 3 die, like I said. And then Pastor Ian is clinging to life. That's what they were saying in the trial. And so, yeah, she had invited them under that pretense, and Darren was like, I'm not coming. And Erin had been real upset because she's like, I really want to talk about this health stuff. And he's like, baby, we could do that on the phone. Okay. Now, come to find out in the trial, Erin allegedly became upset that her estranged husband had filed his taxes and said he was separated. They were separated, but she was pissed that now you letting the government know that we're separated, Australian government. So she's upset about that, just upset. Now, they also find out, besides Erin being a forager of things, she was also in a Facebook group where they talked about these mushrooms. They highlighted where they are, all kinds of stuff. So still people are like, where you get the mushrooms at, Erin? And she's like, well, I got half of them at Woolworths. And the other, like the dried ones, I got at that Asian market that I don't remember the name nor the location of. They, of course, find out that she does not have cancer, that she's not ill. So she just been lying. Now, her defense is like, okay, we all know she lied about the cancer. Big deal. Either way, she ain't mean to poison these people. She didn't know that these were death cap mushrooms, super deadly mushrooms, that maybe she should have known because she talked about it in this Facebook group, and also she's a forager of vegetables or whatever. So, bottom line is that she swears that yes, she made the food, but no, she did not have a vendetta against these people and was not trying to kill them. But what she was trying to do, Erin. And she swears up and down, left and right, that she also had the same food and she got sick. She said she had diarrhea, but she had also gone to the hospital to get checked out, and she was like peacing out. She's like, I'm just going to walk in and see what's going on and I'm going to leave. So the doctor was like, girl, this is not a good idea. Don't leave against medical advice, AMA. So he finds out that she got kids and stuff, and he's like, you need to go check on them, police, because this is very deadly. Like, this is not okay. She needs to be up in here getting treatment. So somehow or another, Erin comes back 45 minutes later. But the kids are fine, apparently, because she has said that she gave the kids the food, but she scraped off the mushrooms. I don't know how that works, because from my understanding, the mushrooms are all up and through the food. I don't know. My conclusion, allegedly, is that she didn't really get them kids that food. And based on the fact that there were different plates, and she was the one that plated everything out, she didn't give herself none of that poisoned food. Allegedly. Okay. So let me make sure I told you everything. Oh, there was a time, like a couple weeks before this, where Darren, the husband, had gotten sick after eating a meal prepared by Erin. Allegedly. And, you know, he ended up in the hospital and was ill. And his parents were told to come and say goodbye and all kinds of stuff. But he recovered. And initially, she had been charged with that, on that, like something ain't right here. But they dropped that charge. They also, what else did they drop? Yeah, they dropped that charge. That's the only one. So, like I said, she had gone in the hospital. She left against medical advice. And the doctor was like, something ain't right. You really need to stay here and get checked out. I'm going to go in with this shade here, which is Sprinkles. And she was like, if you did give your kids this food, like, we need to check them out as well. And so the police went to talk to Erin and bring her back to the hospital. They're like, girl, you have to go back. And she was like so mad because they were like, we want to take the kids out of school so that we can test them. And she was like, why? I don't want to do that. Like, they didn't even have any of the mushrooms. Okay, Erin. So right now, what we know is that she's on trial for 3 counts of murder, 1st degree, and 1 count of attempted murder because Pastor Aaron held on, girl. I feel like he held on for a reason. He's like, I'm going to be here for that trial, and I'm going to make sure that this joker is, you know, held accountable for her alleged crimes. Because now Pastor, what's his name? Ian, he lost his wife and he lost his brother and sister-in-law. All behind this girl, allegedly. I think, what you think, first of all? I think that Erin knew exactly what she was doing. Let me go in with a matte. Maybe these purples over here. I think Erin knew exactly what she was doing, okay? Now, for me, if it was me that had cooked this meal, I would not have known what death cap mushrooms were. I wouldn't have cooked this meal, first of all. Because they just, like, I can't. I don't know how to do it, and I'm probably not going to learn how to. Especially because now I'm a little afraid of these mushrooms. But from what I can recall, like, you can't even be handling these bad boys. You gotta, like, you can take down an elephant. You know, and the thing, she had gotten rid of her food dehydrator, right? Talking about she didn't have one. Cut to us finding photos on her little Facebook group showing people that she had a dehydrator. And that's when she remembered, oh my God, I did have one. Like a year ago. Claiming she not a forager of things. She don't know what had happened. She had gotten the mushrooms from Woolworths and she made a paste out of that, and then she threw the Asian mushrooms on top. And people think that she didn't have not one bite of this beef Wellington, because also, like I said, the older folks 11-12 hours later were just terribly ill. Erin went to the doctor 2 days later talking about, ouch, my stomach hurts, I had beef Wellington. Girl, you had enough time to somehow make yourself have some diarrhea, which just feels like thank you for committing to the role. Okay? So tell me what you think, because like I said, you know, until proven otherwise, she is innocent. But I don't think the stuff is adding up in her favor. And I don't know who or what gave Darren the like, I don't know what made him not go. But he was just like, you know, I don't feel comfortable. And she was like really upset. She was like, I really have to talk about this health stuff. And I'm not going to be able to make this very special meal, you know, anytime soon. So I don't know why. I don't know why. Why she killed these people? Why? They're in their 80s. They're like, we're so excited. We want to see our grandbabies. Like, she couldn't cancel, or she couldn't just not do it. She couldn't just like not. So now you have Pastor Ian having to live with this, not only the physical toll that it probably took on his body, but also the emotional distress of losing 3 of his family. And then you have Darren, who's lost his parents and his aunt and uncle, and is like, praise the Lord, I didn't go. And then you have Aaron, who allegedly took out 3 of the 4 old people and almost took out Pastor Ian, but he held on for 7 weeks. I hypothesize that she's going to be found guilty, but I don't know. I don't think her defense so far is very strong. They're like, okay, yeah, she lied about the dehydrator. She lied about the cancer diagnosis. She may not have had the same meal that everyone else had, but still, she didn't mean to kill these people. Okay, so I'm going to go in with my Danessa Meyers Exploring Balm. I'm actually going to use it as a bit of a primer today, and this is the shade 9. And typically I would use the universal shade if I wanted to use a primer, but I just want to give myself a little bit of coverage with this, and then I will go in and maybe put on a little bit of foundation on top. Anyway, so let me tell you about this other person, a student, a university student, you know, and sometimes there's the assumption that university students would have a little bit of sense, but if you think about it, you know, they're 18, typically like 18 to 20. Brain hasn't completely developed, so their frontal lobe hasn't helped them to like make decisions about practical, like not doing stupid stuff. So there is a student who got stuck on Mount Fuji. Climbed Mount Fuji, Yari was unable to get down because the, like, I think it's called a Krampus or something on his shoe, like he lost it, so he couldn't figure out how to get down. So please go ahead. The rescue team goes ahead and rescues him, right? So I have that, and then I'm going to just put a little bit of my Haus Labs foundation on top. Just a little bit. Just a little bit of work. Just a little bit. Let's just use this. This is a Rosenben C42 brush. So he gets rescued, like, yay. 4 days later, they have to go up and rescue someone again. It's him, same student. Because 4 days later, he decided that he needed to go back and retrieve some of the things that he had not been able to take with him, one of which is his phone. So yet again, he has to be rescued because this time I think it was like altitude sickness. What I don't quite understand is why he thought it was a good idea to go ahead and go back. And it seems like he was there during the time where they suggest not climbing the mountain. There's like a climbing period that is best conditions and stuff. And so I believe I am on the side of those folks who are like, really? You did it again? You're wasting resources. If I were part of the rescue team, I might be like, you know what? I'm going to just tell people we couldn't find you. And I'm going to just go. Because obviously you haven't learned your lesson, and maybe you should stay up here a little bit longer. My thing is, what are the lengths you would go to for a lost phone? Because there's this other story of this lady who literally got caught like upside down in this crevice of a rock because she was trying to retrieve her cell phone. Like, I'm wondering, wouldn't insurance cover this? And even if it didn't, wouldn't it be a little bit better to just not? You know, to just like not. Leave the phone. I'm sorry. It's in a crevice. It's on a mountain. Like, you like, get a new one. I don't know. And, you know, that's certainly not easy. But I would say just call and be like, hey, so no, like, can you turn on the news? Like, so I was that person that was, you know, like stuck on the mountain and like my phone. You know, is this covered under warranty, under insurance? Most likely they're probably gonna tell you no, right? Because I swear they be coming up with all kinds of reasons as to why something ain't covered under warranty. I'm going in with the Danessa Myricks concealer thing. Now, because this is so orange, in my opinion, I just now use it as a corrector. So for me, when I think of it as a corrector rather than a concealer, I like it a lot better. As a concealer, I do not like it. And you know, I love me some Danessa, but I also don't like everything that she releases, because come on. Did I tell you that Jessa went to the makeup show and saw Danessa without me? And I told her that I hate her, but that I love her, and that I'm so jealous, but also excited that she got to go. And see our bestie, who Dawn told me is coming out with another palette. It's like a smaller Freedom palette. The Freedom palette is this one. She came out with this one last year. Here it is. Well, it looks like she's coming out with one that is more along the lines of like face products, because I feel like those are eyeshadows. And I didn't even know, because I'm not as much on social media these days, which is very like liberating and nice. But if, you know, the finances allow, I will go ahead and get it. It's like $40-something. We'll see. We don't need anything, but okay, so there's that, and I've been using the Danessa Myricks and my Kitco brushes just to keep things, you know, whatever. And I'm just going to go ahead and finish everything up. I think the blush I'm going to use is this purple blush from Cosmic Beauty. Let me see if this is it. Okay. One moment, because I refuse to break a nail, so I need to find a way to open this bad boy. Okay, so I'm just using one of my spatulas, and boop. So here is the blush. And yeah, I'll finish all of this up and I will be right back. So here's the finished look. This is what people are getting today. I'm about to head downstairs and start working. I hope that some of this was helpful, and I also hope that you are continuing to take care of yourself. Let me know a couple of things. What do you think about Erin Patterson and the mushrooms? And how far would you go to rescue your phone? Anyways, I would love it if you liked the video, and I would love it even more if you subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.